Welcome. It's a Fan Zone show special in the fact that I normally do these on Mondays, but obviously the game against Derby was a Monday. The game next week is West Brom, which is on Monday. So I thought we'd just do one today. There is a lot to talk about. I'm joined here with Sam.
Yeah.
Last night, again, Jekyll and Hyde performance. Last night was pretty woeful, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we looked okay against Derby. Got a win, trudged through, looked better as a team, and then goes all out the window against Sheffield United. And
I mean, we looked all right against Derby, but Derby looked pretty poor themselves. Yeah. I think that made us look better. I don't think we were brilliant against Derby by any shadow.
I think most teams should look at how Sheffield United played against us and go into every game against us that mentality, the way we're playing at the moment. We're struggling against a lot of teams, most teams. So
we want your views, we want your comments. If you're watching this live, let us know what you thought to last night's performance. And of course, as normal in a Fan Zone show, we can get them on camera. Casey says, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you, Casey. Not the result you probably wanted last night either. LCFC Gray says, morning, guys. Apart from JJ, sell the bloody lot of them. They're an absolute disgrace. We'll come on to JJ because, again, he is the standout player. But, Sam, one of their goals last night, JJ just not marking the defender. Zonal marking.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't put it all down to JJ for that one, but it was, I think it was zonal marking. She got three players who were just holding their position off them, watching the 6'6" centre back that's running full sprint into the box.
Their number two scores literally a free header in the box. We've got Reedy and we've got Jake. I'm going to add them both in. Let's get them all in. Hello, guys. How are you?
Good. I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm going to start with you, first of all, Jamie Reedy. You were at the game last night, and because for whatever reason, we just haven't managed to have a chat with you. So I've got no idea what your take on the game was, Reedy. We obviously, me, Jake, Sam, we watched it on TV. You were actually at the game. What was the feel before, during and after the game from the fans in the stands, Reedy? Let us know.
Well, obviously before the game when the team news came out, it was very, not concerning, but again, you bring out your striker that you've been starting the last few weeks for a youngster who has played up front before for the academy, but again, don't know anything about him. From what can we expect from him? I don't know. Probably a lot to ask for someone that young. And obviously Ricardo Pereira comes back in because it's not a midweek game in a way. But like I said, looking at that team, we've seen the team do it before and actually win games, but unfortunately this time it didn't work. But again, going into the game, I think for the first 5 minutes, you could tell that we just didn't even get out first gear. And unfortunately, we didn't start playing football until the 70th minute when Monga and Louis Page came on, which for me is very concerning because I'm not blaming the manager for that. He picked the team that should be going out there and trying to do something. And we didn't even get going and actually playing football. We didn't actually get a set piece of playing football until the 70th minute. And I don't know why. So you could have just walked into the ground at 70 minutes and go, right, we've got 20 minutes left to play. Let's go.
I think really the youngsters, a lot of people will say we were playing better when the youngsters came on, but we were 3-0 down and Sheffield United, for me, just got into just see the game out mode. So I think it's easier to come on. I think all the problems were obviously created by Leicester's. I mean, people have used words like lack of passion and lack of pride. The defending, for me, again, was just pitiful, really.
Yeah, I think for me, the majority of the issues yesterday came down to Luke Thomas, if I'm totally honest. The first goal was down his side, of course. And obviously, when the ball came in for the header, he was the man marking the guy who scored the goal for the first one. Second one, again, poor, straight down that side. And then the third one again, the ball over the top to the right side, and he missed the header, and he went straight through onto the byline for them to score the third. So for me, as much as I don't want to keep slating him, he is causing a big issue for me, and I don't know what we can do to change that because it's just they're overloading that side because they know he's the weak spot for us, and it's not all down to him from the game yesterday, but it's a big issue that we need to solve because it can't keep going on like that.
Let's get a few comments in before we go over to Jake and ask about some of those goals. LCFC Gray says we can't do any of the basics. Sam, that's what it looked like. Just basics, like marking defenders.
I think we're overcomplicating it. For ourselves, football doesn't have to be that complicated, especially not in a league like Championship, and especially against a team like Sheffield United, who have Wilder in control, and he's going to look at every game. He'll look at us and go, "We know they're going to play a slow style of football. So if you put them on the back, they know Luke Thomas used to play for him, so they'll know. Look, he's an all-round
strengths and weaknesses.
They know that he can't lob balls. He's too small and he's too weak to do anything against them."
I mean, Ben says this, isn't it funny? The club turned their noses up at Chris Wilder and then went for someone who got QPR to the heights of 19th. Manager is so out of his depth. We cry for Wilder right now.
Yeah, I mean that pretty much just sums up the the higher up of the club. We turned down a manager like Wilder who's got experience in the Premier League and Championship at this level. And you go to someone like Cifuentes, who West Brom didn't want in QPR, said, "You're not going to manage us next season." So, again, that's the fact that we wanted to play possession-based football again. And that's kind of why we rejected Cooper so quickly. It's why we've not brought someone like Wilder in this season.
Yeah, I mean, Scott's kind of joking, saying time to get a dinosaur manager in. I know what Scott's hinting at there, but I don't know, Scott. I think somebody needs to sort out these players. Let's go over to Jake. Jake, you've seen the goals. Just try to talk us through. I mean, you play Sunday League yourself. Just some of the defending, Jake, at those plays.
Yeah, like Reedy said, it's more just like the basics. I mean, the first goal, I think, to be fair, I thought their first goal was a good header. We probably could have dealt with it a bit better, but in my opinion, it was a good goal. Their second and third goals, though, it was just too easy for them to get through our defenders. Like you'd say, at Sunday League, you'd be turning to your left back and saying, "What are you doing? Just get it out." You're just sort of fanning around with it. And then obviously our consolation goal was pretty good by JJ. But yeah, their goals, they were poor to concede, and we should have dealt with them better. But at the same time, we've been seeing this all week in, week out. We've been conceding goals like this all season. This is not new. This is not just from last night's game. This has been happening week in, week out. The Derby game, we keep seeming to have these games like against Derby where we do win against them, but it means nothing because it's just paving over the cracks. We've been playing how we did against Sheffield United for weeks. We played against how we did last night against how we played against Sheffield United at home a few weeks ago. I don't understand why we thought, oh, we lost really badly against Sheffield United 4 weeks ago. So what are we going to do tonight? The exact same thing. We're going to play the same way and we're going to lose in the same manner. And for me, it's a bit embarrassing. And I think that Marti has to take responsibility. As much as we talk about other things like with the King Power, Top and Rudkin and whatnot, for last night, Marti has to take responsibility for playing the exact same way that we lost against Sheffield United 4 weeks ago.
Reedy, well, I mean, obviously, you being at the game, Reedy, last night, I want to know. It kind of sounded like, from what Taylor was telling us with some of his post-match thoughts, that the fans were turning big style towards the end of the game. What was the mood in the stands towards Marti? Was the frustration with Marti, or where was the fans, sort of view?
There was a lot of chance of you getting sacked in the morning. You don't know what you're doing. Yeah, there was loads of chance of like that. But then again, by the end of the game, half the fans have gone. So it was a bit of a weird one. Again, I'm not looking at the manager for this one. For me to say he is to blame, I think that he put the team out that has done it against Derby, has done it against Ipswich, majority, and it honestly just did feel like we just didn't want to get out of first gear until the 70th minute. I don't know why or how, but I think the changes with Monger and Page, the moment them two came on, we just wanted to start playing football. Like I say, we didn't even watch 4 or 5 different pass setups in the first 70 minutes. You just couldn't get a pass stringing going. So I don't know. I get that Marti has to pick the team, and it's his fault for picking the team that doesn't go and do it. But you've only got a select number of players now. For me, that you'd go, why are they not performing? Because they just did it against Derby. They just did it against Ipswich beforehand.
It's more about the style and the mannerism we're playing against. And like I said, Sheffield United, they knew how we were going to play because we've not changed it all season. apart from a few glimpses here and there where we have played a bit more long ball football, and I'm not saying that's necessarily the key to our problems at the moment, but we in there actually the exact same team. They've got better players on paper. You look at someone like O'Hare, he's probably better than what we've got in midfield. Apart from Jordan James, Cannon and Bamford, both way miles better than any striker we've got.
Bamford on a free, again, we could have had him. O'Hare, I wanted us to buy 18 months ago. Matt says here, Sam, Thomas undoubtedly at fault for their second and third goals, but both times, and we were saying this, both times, the ball is cut back completely to somebody who is unmarked.
It's a calamity. It's not just Thomas. He obviously starts off with being too weak at left back. But then if you go back and watch it, like Matt's saying there, you watch the goals back, you've got Ben Nelson, who's not sticking his leg out, doesn't know who's behind him, Pereira, who's lost his man.
The third goal, O'Hare scores it, it goes in. But again, watch Ricky P on the back post, completely lets...
If the ball goes through, it falls to an open net.
If the keeper saves it or it's the post or comes back out, Ricky P's just given up on his player.
Yeah.
And it doesn't cost us a goal, Ricky P doing that. But it just shows that they're not busting a bollock to try and get in there.
Whose idea was it to give Pereira the captain of the club? For me, again, I said at the start of the season, I think most fans did. It's a stupid move to give the most injury-prone player problems.
Well, Jake,
he was poor last night.
Ricky P last night, again, everybody's saying Ricky P this, Ricky P that, but he didn't have a good game at all last night. And if you ask me, a lot of blame goes on Luke Thomas, but for me, Ricky P last night, again, looked off the pace, Jake.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could probably say that about a lot of our players. Like, if could either you or Reedy, could you name anyone who you go, that player really looked like they cared last night? And that's the question. You might have like a couple where you go, oh yeah, they tried. JJ, put a bit of effort in and whatnot. But the rest of the team, you go, you've conceded one, and then that's it. You're out. It's like it's like the mentality of it is they know. They go, oh, we've conceded within 5 minutes. Oh, it's game over then. Whatever. And that's how I see it.
Yeah, Reedy, I don't know what you thought to Ricky P last night.
I think he tried. I don't think it worked because again, when you're overloading the likes of Fatawu when he's trying to get down the wing and all that, I think the passes he made to them, it was just harder ask. Again, it all felt for me yesterday that he just couldn't get out of first gear, and that's my kind of reasoning to yesterday. It just felt like we just didn't want to even try until the 70th minute. It was like, oh, I could have just walked in the 70th minute we could start playing football because we didn't even try before then. I don't get what was going wrong or how, but we couldn't get anything going. Like I say, Ricardo was trying, but nothing was clicking. Every pass was going straight back to them. It was one-way traffic for them, and it was inevitable when they were going to score. But I don't know what is going on at the moment. Like I said, we can't predict any result. We can't predict what Leicester's going to turn up. After 5-10 minutes, we said, "Oh, this is the Leicester we're going to get today." Then because we just didn't even get going. So unfortunately,
you could tell within 5 minutes last night, Reedy, it was not going to be a game for us. Sam, go on. You want to say?
Yeah, I think it's one thing to watch Pereira's attacking movement and missing passes, but if you look at his defending, it's atrocious. He's a right back at the end of the day, so going forward is not as key as defending. You should honestly watch the highlights. Even the 3 minutes highlight back is every time they're swinging in the box, and even though the Pereira's man isn't doing much, Pereira's nowhere near him. He's given up half time. He's not running back, and
they barely went.
We saw Pereira and Fatawu both arguing on the pitch, or Fatawu arguing Pereira, and to be honest, I can kind of see why, because I think when you've got a player that's clearly miles off the pace, and Pereira was both in attack and defence miles off the pace.
He seemed it, but again, you mentioned Fatawu there last night, Reedy. I said several times, it's like watching a Fatawu one-man team. He wants to cut in, he wants to score another YouTube classic just to add to his show reel, if you ask me. He doesn't seem to be playing the team game, Reedy. I don't know what it was like at the match, but I'm kind of like, if somebody comes in and offers 20-30 million for him in January, which the rumours are, I'd kind of be saying take it and buy 3 or 4 players to help get us out of this mess, Reedy.
Yeah,
what was it like?
Difficult.
I just thought Fatawu was off it last night on his, I just want to score a wonder goal. I don't care if we win.
It's difficult with Fatawu because I think the main thing that other teams do, and this does that quite easily, is just overmark him, put 2 or 3 men on him, and you won't be able to do anything with it. I think he did try and get a few balls in the box and attack, but like you said, every time he couldn't get down the byline, he had to just try and cut in and take a whack at it. And I was getting annoyed at him. I think the second or third time he did it, when the ball, like literally, the goalkeeper stood still because he knew he weren't going anywhere near the goal when he shot. But on the other hand, you'd say that was the only one actually trying to take shots because no one else. We didn't have a shot on target all game until JJ scored, which was just like embarrassing. You can't be going into a game and having one shot on target, which is the goal you score in the 90th minute, wherever it was. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Let's get a few fan comments in, and then I'll come back to Jake about Marti Cifuentes. Alf says here, feeling sorry for JJ, actually puts in a shift up front.
Yeah, he's looked good. I don't think he's going to stay with us.
If he's got any sense, he'll want better than Leicester at this rate.
I think the season he's had, he could easily go, with a promoted team. He could easily go to a Coventry or something if they get promoted. Or Middlesbrough, or a team that's up there. I think there's a lot of possibilities for someone like him. But if I was him and he had any sense, if we don't go up the season, which is looking very likely that we're a mid-table team at best, then JJ is not going to stick around.
I mean, Tom says here, I'm amazed. I was amazed, Tom, as well, that he was given a 4-year contract because I like Luke Thomas. He's a Leicester lad. He can have a good game. He can have a bad game. But I was thinking, like, if we do get promoted, I just don't see Luke Thomas as a Premier League player. So we've given him 4 years for what? I think it's interesting. I want to go back to a comment in here, which was asking about the Marti Cifuentes comments in here. It was a while ago. I'm trying to see it. But somebody said about what do we think to Marti's comments. Here, Liam says it. Marti's comments at the end were interesting. Say he can't say certain things. I'm going to throw that hospital pass straight to Jake. Jake, Marti does come out with some things. It seemed a strange thing saying. He was like alluding to some stuff, like there isn't stuff that he can't say. But then you kind of can read between the lines and go, well, wow, Eyes wasn't in the not late. Harry Winks is nowhere near the squad. Sumari, we've forgotten where is Sumari? I don't even know if he's fit or injured. But Jay, what do you make to Marti's slightly vague comments?
Well, to me, it sort of doesn't make sense. I mean, in my opinion, I would just say that, well, if you can't say certain things, then you don't have to say that you can't say certain things. I don't know. If it doesn't make much sense. It can mean nothing, but there's no point being like, oh well, there's things that are going on, but I can't say them because that's just, are you trying to like shift the crosshairs or I don't really understand what he's trying to say. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Marti's post-match comments anyway because I feel like he's literally in his back pocket got a script of like, oh yeah, it wasn't good enough. We need to train on this. Oh yeah, we'll come back next week stronger. It's the same thing week in week out with Marti. So yeah, his comments last night. I don't know what they don't make any sense. It means nothing to no one. It could literally mean anything. It could be talking about what he's having for dinner. Oh, I can't say what I'm having for dinner.
Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense to anyone.
Reedy, me and Reedy were having a little WhatsApp debate yesterday, and I think Sam and Jake were in on it as well. Reedy said he felt like, and I'm trying not to throw you under the bus with this, Reedy, but you were saying you felt like the squad we have this year is as good as the squad we had under Enzo 2 years ago, Reedy. Surely, after watching that again last night, you must understand why I feel this squad is nowhere near the same level as we were 2 years ago when we went up.
I think the majority of the reason why that is, for me, is because of Enzo Maresca. I think the difference in the quality of managers is what the level of quality we've got now. Yes, you've lost Vardy, which is the biggest part about in the team that's probably different to 2 years ago. But I would still go out and say the Dewsbury loss is maybe probably near enough to the level of what we've got now in JJ. Obviously not as high, but he's still outputting what he's doing. Again, that's 8 goals for him now and 2 assists, which I think at this time the season, last 2 years ago, it's about the same. And then other than that, I think the majority of the team is still there. Yes, Nelson's in the team now instead of Vestergaard and FaZe, but I'd probably go out and say that you'd probably prefer to see Nelson start now, youth and whatnot. And other than that, you look at the team, and I think the majority of the team that we had 2 years ago was fringe players that we lost. I think the main team we've got now, other than the odd few players, starting still. Mabadidi, Fatawu, Winks was, but obviously now he's lost his place because of certain reasons. I still think the team's good enough to do what we did 2 years ago, but is it because of the manager? Maybe so. I don't know, because I don't think you'd be able to get an Enzo Maresca star manager now, because I think the level of quality that he had and ability to manage a team, you're never going to get that anymore.
I mean, Sam, I couldn't disagree more with Reedy. I don't know about you, but Vestergaard this year is nowhere near as good as Vestergaard was 2 years ago. Winks is not even in the squad. 2 years ago, he was running the show. We had in goal. I hate to say it, I think Jakub Stolicic is, again, not a great keeper.
The only thing
Wiki P is 2 years and definitely not as good. No Vardy, no KDH. You know, this is a shadow in my books of the team from 2 years ago.
I would agree on would be, I think Enzo was better at being a morale booster and having a way more clear-cut plan of what he wanted to do and how to implement it. So I agree with you on that. The team is dog shit compared to 2 years ago.
It's near enough, but it's near enough the same team.
Main players, even the bench players. You know, if you didn't have Vardy, then you had Iheanacho. If you didn't have Iheanacho, you had Cannon. Now we're stuck with Daka.
Or Daka. You had four.
Daka was okay then, but we've got effectively one main striker being Daka, who couldn't hit a barn door to save his life, and when he does, he tries to break his neck after celebrating. Ayew, who's not an out-and-out striker, and you've just not replaced Vardy. We're not even replaced Iheanacho. You know, when Vardy wasn't hitting, Iheanacho had a decent spell for 10 games. Drewsville, I think Jordan James is good. I think he's okay. Again, you got to look at the players around him. And did he? Miles better than anyone else that's in the team now. 2 years ago, Hermansen, Miles better than any keeper that's played for us so far. Defenders, Vestergaard and Fai's 2 years younger. Premier League players.
They played better that year than they are this year.
I do think the club was worse, but I also do agree. I think Enzo was probably a way better morale booster than any manager we've had since. You know, maybe minus Cooper in my opinion, but I think he was a little bit of a different swing in the dark at it. So I agree with Enzo probably being better as a manager than Cifuentes, but I got to disagree. I think the team is you know, miles different compared to what it was 2 years ago.
I mean, let's chuck it to Jake. And Jake, I guess the question I'm going to ask you is, it's Friday now. We got West Brom on Monday. There's a lot of talk about Marti Cifuentes should get sacked, but I think the problems are far deeper than just Marti. But you can't change lots of players. But January transfer window is now open, Jake. What is anything going to change before Monday? And then you're just playing West Brom, another mid-table side who could easily come and we could beat them or they could beat us.
Honestly, I think that I've come to terms to realise that we are just where we are now. I think Marti is part of the problem, but I think you've got a lot of players on the pitch that are also part of the problem. And like you said, you can't sack all the players and start fresh. It takes a while because we've got the January transfer window. I think we need to just sell as many players as we can and not rush to buy players. I think loaning is the best option, just because we don't want to be stuck with a bunch of crap again. And then next summer, I think we're going to be stuck in the Championship. So I think next summer we just got to start a rebuild. And I think Marti Cifuentes shouldn't be at the helm. I think he's a poor manager. I'm surprised that's the manager we went for. I think we need to, whoever at the board level is consistently thinking we need to have a manager who plays possession-based football. That's how we want to play, and that's how we're going to play. Because the players didn't like it when Steve Cooper tried to scrap that, and then he got sacked after 10 games. It's like everyone surrounding the club wants to play this possession-based football. I think just take it back to basics. Then we need to get rid of Marti as soon as possible, because I think he's a poor manager. He's a poor coach, because we're not seeing any improvements. We're actually seeing just the same week in, week out, and regression. And yeah, his tactics are poor. I think January transfer window is coming round, so I think you just got to try and get 1 million for Daka, 1 million for Winks, 2 million for FaZe, whatever you can get. Just get rid of them, because the problems are deeper than just Cifuentes, oh, he's a bad manager, get rid of him. Because what if we get rid of Cifuentes? Who are we going to bring in? Is that manager's probably going to do crap as well, because these players are crap and don't care. So, like I said, get rid of Marti and I'd just give it to Andy King for the rest of the season until we figure out what the hell we're doing. Because at the moment, I don't think anyone surrounding the club knows what we're doing. No CEO, no director of football, no direction of football, no direction of the future of the club. There's just no one knows what's going on. So I would just give it to Andy King, sell as much players as you can, play as much of the youngsters for the rest of the season, and just try and develop them and start again next year.
I'm going to ask you, Jake, and then I'll ask Sam and then Reedy. Would you cash in on Fatawu in January if the numbers were right?
Yeah, I think he's a solo player. I think at the moment he's looking for that. There's rumours he's going to Bournemouth. He probably wants to go to Bournemouth, to be fair. He probably wants to play Premier League football. It might not be Liverpool or Man City, but he wants to play Premier League. And he'll be happy with Bournemouth. And I'm happy with 30 million for him. So I'll take it. I mean, he's a good player, don't get me wrong. But I think this season he's been found out a lot. So I'm okay with 30 million.
I'll ask that to Sam now. Sam, Fatawu, would you cash in if the number was right, 25, 30 million?
Yeah, I think you have to. Financially for the club, I think they'll want to. For me, 30 million, I think would be lucky to get 30 million for him after the season he's had.
I would. I don't think it's worth 30 million quid at all. But
so yeah, I 100%. I'd cash in on him.
I would, as long as we reinvest it in January, some of it. I think you need to. If you've got 30 million come in, you need to go out and buy a couple of players. But who you attract, I don't know.
I don't know.
You're not careful. You're into attracting players on too much. Whatever.
I wouldn't buy anyone, by the way, in January. If Marti's at the helm, I don't buy anyone, because then you could be just stuck again with you're buying Carranzas, and then what do you do?
I mean,
that's why I said loans.
Running the show.
I think if
Reedy, sorry, Jay, Reedy, your thoughts on Fatawu?
30 million minimum. I think you've got to have a 30 million minimum. You've got to.
He's not worth that though, really, is he? He's not a £30 million player.
This season, no. But I think in a better team, he would be a lot better quality. I think that he plays better around better players.
The championship season where we got promoted, where he was really decent at championship. He did nothing in the Premier League, obviously, with his injury. This season, Reedy, he's had flashes of being a superstar and a lot of like mid-table championship, hasn't he?
No, I get that, but I'd still say you've got to price him at a certain rate to be going. You're not having him unless you pay this amount, because if you want him as much as you do, then you would pay the price we're asking for. So for me, I wouldn't let him go for less than 30, if I'm totally honest. I still think we need him in the team if that's the case. I still think he can do enough for us this season to help us not get relegated as the first thing, but I still think you've got to price him up to a certain point to make teams want to go for him, but then don't price him overly to make him not go. I'm not paying that much, but for me, yeah, 30 million, I'll let him go. But like Jake says, I don't know what you'd do if you sold him. I think you've got an easy replacement there for me in Monga. Again, he's nowhere near the level, but at least he gets more experience by playing more games, and hopefully he can kick on and start. Because again, when he came on yesterday, he started playing quite decent. So I'm not too sure what. I think when Monga came on, it really changed. It really started to actually make us want to play the game at 2-0. I thought it wasn't at 2-0.
It was 3-0.
It was 2-0. It was 2-0 when they came on, and I think if you could get a goal, it was, yeah. They had one attempt straight.
Yeah, but they come on, the young lads. I get that, but then we came on and it went from 2-0 to 3-0, and then Sheffield United are just cruising. That last 20 minutes.
I do get that, but from the 70th minute when they came on, instantly from before 70th minute to after 70th minute, I think we created 3 or 4 decent opportunities in the box. For me, anyway, and like I say, well, it felt like we actually started wanting to play football, and I felt like Monga was a big reason why we actually got a few chances into the box. But for me,
when we started, what happened?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. But like I said, that's my. If you could say a replacement for Fatawu if he goes, I think the only one you probably would say is Monga. I don't think there's anyone else you'd say replaces that position other than him. So
Yeah.
I'm not too sure.
Last question, and I'll start this one with Sam, and then again we'll go round. And if you're watching this, put in the comments. And it is going to be: should Marti Cifuentes be sacked today before West Brom? I'm going to ask you all that. If you're watching this, put in Marti in or Marti out. I know we've run some polls on X, and it was vast majority is Marti to be gone. I'll put my case forward. I am so questioning what you do about Marti. I think I've got I don't know who comes in. If it's somebody like Will Still or somebody like this or Martin Russell, I'm like, what's the point? Because I don't want to see any more of this nonsense. If my only thing is, and it's a real Hail Mary for the season, is put Andy King in as head coach with Martin O'Neill. And I know it's old school, but Martin O'Neill would go in and would take literally no messing from them, and he would inspire them. And I would say, try that to get us to the end of the season. And my view now on this season is I still feel there is a chance of playoffs, but I also don't want to look at relegation. I'd almost, if you offered it me now and said it's just a mid-tabled league, but you don't get relegated or promoted, I'd probably take it because I feel it could go either way. But if the Hail Mary was Martin O'Neill with Andy King and even put back in place, some of the old players to, give them a bit of a G up, whether they'd listen to any of them and respect managers and ex-players who've done stuff. But that would be mine, is they need the hairdryer treatment. I'm fed up of the cuddling them round Seagrave and going, oh, well played, lads, you did ever so well. Marti Cifuentes, when we lost at QPR, was going around the Leicester players going, oh, good game. And it's like, no, you need somebody to say, go and say thanks to the fans, get in the dressing room. That was total shit, mate. But they don't. He says, well, you might as well have played, Sam. Is if we do a Hail Mary. But if we get Will Still or Martin Russell in, I can't be bothered with it. But Sam, should Marty stay or should he go?
He should 100% be sacked, in my opinion. But there is no point sacking him, like you said. If we're going to bring in someone who does the exact same style of football. I think it's claimed that the style, as much as I know Reedy is one of them that likes the style, I think it's been one of the biggest issues as to why we've been playing really poorly. I think it worked 2 years ago. I think we could have played any style of football still under Enzo. I think with the quality of players we had then, the most expensive team to ever be in the Championship still. So you go, if you're going to look at Enzo being great, you also got to look at the fact that we had a £300 million team in the Championship. I don't think it works for us as a club.
It doesn't now. We're not got good enough players.
Plays for it.
Possession passing football works when you've got good players. If you're not, Derby tried to play it.
If you look, Derby tried to.
What are Derby doing trying to outpass? We were crap. They were crap.
It's pet ball. But you looked at Man City last season and that when they get 3 or 4 injuries and some of their key players, they can't play passing football. They struggle to do it when they miss some of their key players. And if a team that's over £1 billion struggles to play passing football when that's their bread and butter, it's again, sometimes football doesn't have to be complicated, and I don't care who we bring in so much as it can't be someone that plays the same football. Otherwise you might as well just ride it out and see what happens at the end of the season. But
that's my logic. If you get another manager in who does the same ethos as Marti with these players, what's the point in sacking Marti Cifuentes? You might as well have kept Rude at this rate, because nothing has changed since Rude to Marti. Let's Reedy. I know you have different views. What is your take, Reedy, on Marti? Should he stay? Should he go? And if he goes, what's your plan?
I don't think it matters, to be honest. If he goes and you bring someone else in, you've still got the same players to use. Again, I'm not too sure what people expect. Sack the manager, see if that solves the solution. The manager's not the solution, not the issue. In the whole sense, again, you've got players who don't want to play for us. You've got a board who I said that they want to be open and communicate. We've not had anything since that interview came out. At the moment, the only thing you are able to do is sack the manager. But I don't think that's going to solve the solution, in my opinion. Like you said, if he goes, we're going to bring someone else in, like a Russell Martin or Will Still. Probably, because that's what the club want. And as much as, like Sam said, I do enjoy it when it works. If you could get Enzo back, do it, because I think it will completely help us go up. If I'm totally honest, I think that change in management would be life changing in the club, in my opinion, because I think that that level of
What
management.
would?
I think if again, I know it's 99% not going to happen. I'm saying the only manager who I'd bring in if Marty went, if it is the same style of football, is Enzo, because I know he could do it.
He's
I
never
know
going to come, really. He's never going to
no,
come
he's
back to
not.
Leicester.
But that's what I'm saying. But if it's not him, then as much as I know,
But really, do you not agree? Like, if you did have a change of manager, they could, if they tried to do something different with these players. And obviously Sean Dyche is at Forest, and you've seen what he's done there. I know you didn't want Sean Dyche when he was heavily linked with Leicester, but really, if a Sean Dyche type manager came in, you would see a complete different style of football straight away.
you probably would. But
Which
I
might
would
do
rather.
better.
Might do better, might do worse. I would go to the games probably more bored. Again, I went to the Cuba games when he was in charge. I was bored shitless. So, unfortunately, I'm not too sure. I'm not going to be happy in myself if we bring in someone different. Again, I know
But you're
we've seen
happy
the last.
watching that last night, really?
No, of
You're
course
happy
not.
watching us try to play classic football?
No,
Watching
but
that?
of course not. But when we do win games, I enjoy it more when we've played well. But it's a difficult situation, because I know that if we do bring Enzo in, even you lot have said if we bring Enzo in, I don't want him back because it's boring football, but it worked. If you bring in someone
Well,
else
we'd
in,
have
like
him. We'd all have him, but he's
it,
never going to come.
no, of course he's not. But then I'd say if you're bringing Martin O'Neill in, I'd say you'd be watching the most sluggish, boring football in the world. But it might work. So at this rate,
So,
I'd do anything.
really, so you're saying you would keep Marti? I think that's what you're saying.
It's not about keeping Marty. I'm just saying that I don't think it would change anything if we do get someone else in, because it's the same pool of players we've got to use. Right now,
So
like
you
Jake says,
stick with Marti then?
we need a rebuild, and I don't think it's just going to be. Yes, the only aim this year is getting up, but if that's not the case, you've got to rebuild and get ready for a championship charge, hopefully next season under whoever it is, because I'm not too sure what you can do. Again, going to Andy King, I don't think he'll do the job. Don't get me wrong, I don't think he'll get us relegated, but I don't think anyone's going to come in and get us promoted.
Had no credentials whatsoever. So what makes you think that he deserves the job over someone like Wilder or Cooper, who both have a million times more experience in both the Premier League and the top half of the Championship? For me, Cifuentes was just, we want to play a style of football, and he's the next best manager that will do it.
That's probably what you're going to get if Marty goes. They'll just look for. They'll probably go. They probably will go for a Will Still or a Russell Martin. Then you know they will.
If they do, it's pointless. Jake, let's get your views before we wrap up.
Yeah, well, first off, I want to mention that Reedy said if we bring Martin O'Neill in, it's going to be slow, sluggish football. Last night when Reedy watched the game, was he doing that? Because last night's game was some slow, sluggish, boring football. I'll tell you that much. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Cifuentes, like you said, there's no point sacking Cifuentes if you're going to bring in another manager that does the exact same thing or has the exact same philosophy and play style, because that the whole possession-based philosophy and play style is the reason we are where we are and the reason we've been relegated twice in 3 years. It's not that good of a play style for us. It hasn't been. Under Enzo, it sort of worked because we had the most expensive championship side ever. We had Premier League players who have all gone off to now be in Premier League or other teams and doing well. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I would have sacked Cifuentes weeks ago, but I'm worried that we're going to bring in, like you say, a Will Still. I'm happy to give it to Andy King to the end of the season because I don't think we're going to get promoted this season. I don't think any manager is going to come in and get this team promoted. I think we need a complete reset. There's too many players in this squad that are taking big wages. They're not getting into the squad, not bothered, can't be bothered to put on the shirt, can't be bothered to come to the games if they're not on the bench. So, yeah, I don't know. It's one of those. I think, yeah, I don't even know what to say. I don't know. I want Cifuentes gone, but I don't want to bring in another manager who's doing the same thing. Because Reedy might say, oh, yeah, but watching Steve Cooper is boring. I tell you now, I am so sick and tired of bored of watching possession-based football when we can't do it. Genuinely, I struggle to have the effort to go to the games anymore because it's boring. The players look like they don't give a monkeys. The manager doesn't even do anything when you go, oh, he's trying to do something here. What are we going to do in the last 25 minutes? It's just the same shit week in, week out, and it's so incredibly infuriating and boring. I can't be bothered with it anymore. So if Cifuentes goes, they need to pull the finger out and stop the possession-based football and go for a proper manager who just plays the best style of football to the best of our players' abilities, or we just stick with Marti because, yeah, I don't know. I can't be bothered to sack a manager for the same thing.
It is tricky. I think we're all kind of saying the same. If you sack Marti and just replace with a Will Still or Russell Martin, you kind of might as well stick with Marti. But I do wonder if, again, the player power is that they're not happy with him. This comments, he comes out saying there's stuff here, you don't know what's going on. It just seems very, very strange. I know we're going to wrap it up there. Go on, did you want to say?
He started, after last night's game, he's starting to give me Van Nistelrooy vibes now of he can't be asked comments. And now saying stuff like, oh, there's stuff that I want to say, but I can't. Say.
Well,
that's for me, it's an attitude.
There's fallings out because there's no Harry Winks.
Yeah.
There's no fines. You know, there is. Where's Bubama Samari? Is Samari injured, Reedy?
I don't know.
So these players, Winks, Faze, and Sumari, that's 200 grand's worth a week of wages of players we bought to be playing Premier League football, and they don't even make a mid-table championship side. So that tells me all I need to know, that those players aren't interested and aren't getting on with Marti Cifuentes. I don't even believe they turn up to the home matches to sit in the stands and watch the game, some of these players anymore. So big things. I know and Reedy for joining us. Reedy, I know you'll be doing an aftermath show with Jamie on Sunday. I'm sure one of the things you'll be talking about, and I don't want to touch on it today, is the potential. It is some fans asking other fans to boycott Monday's game. I know we'll all be there. We'll all be watching the game, but I'm sure you'll be discussing that on Sunday, Reedy.
Yeah, we'll be there on Sunday with Jamie talking about the game coming up against West Brom. We already know that there's some, like I say, boycotting stuff, so we'll be talking about that probably. But again, what's that going to do? Like I say, it's only a quick one, but what's that going to do when it comes to you've already paid for your money for your season ticket? They're already up on the money. So if you don't go, I don't think they really care. So in my opinion, there's no point doing it. It's not going to change anything. When we had that project reset happening ages ago, that didn't change anything, did it? There was only about a few thousand that wanted to do that. So I honestly don't think boycotting anything is going to really change anything at the club. I don't think, like I said, even if you got rid of the board, I don't think it's going to do anything.
One. I mean, really, my take on it, he kind of, I mean, if you wanted Top to sell the club, you need to have signs saying Top sell the club. I know they're saying King Power out, which is effectively it, but I don't know. It's a strange one, and
but do they think that's going to solve the issue? That's not going to solve the issue, is it? It's like sacking Marti. That's not going to solve the issue, in my opinion.
I think
whatever you do, it's not going to change.
I think it's poor timing in terms of, I think Susan Whelan's gone. She's now no longer the CEO. Top's taking over as interim CEO, and then John Rudkin's been moved from. Well, I don't know. It's not really even clarified if he's been moved from directors of football or if he's still director of football.
Well, he's no longer director of football. Okay,
so we've not got a CEO. We've not got a director of football. I think you have to give it to the summer, in my opinion, before you can even think about it, because getting a CEO doesn't go from like, oh, I don't have a CEO right now, so I'm going to get one tomorrow. It takes a while to get a top quality one. So I'll give them to the summer. I think the timings of it is a bit ill. I think it doesn't, like Reedy said, it doesn't change anything on the pitch, whether Top's our owner or whether someone else is our owner at the moment.
Not immediately, no.
No, so it's not like, oh, what, we lost, get Top out. That's the issue. That's not the issue for why we lost yesterday, necessarily.
No, there's some stuff on the pitch you could change very quickly, which is a manager inspiring players to chuck their bodies on the line and play a different way. But listen, anyway, we've been going long enough. Thanks, Reedy. Thanks, Jake, for joining us. We'll see you guys soon.
See you later.
Cheers, Chads. Thanks as well, Sam, for joining me, and thanks for all your views and comments on here. There's way too much to talk about that we could do in 40 minutes, but we appreciate all your comments and all your views. For those of you who are at the match on Monday, we'll see you down there. I know everybody's right not to go. A lot will end up watching on telly because it's a cold and frosty game on Monday. And of course, join Jamie on Sunday at 9:30 for the Foxes Aftermath show. Sam, thanks for joining us.
Cheers.
See you soon.